Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. The double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rule well. Peace and salutation to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is It's Important Because They Are a Jewish Family, right? These are the Amalekites who run the world. And ultimately, this dude says that statement around like 4 minutes and 30 seconds or whatever. I'm gonna play about 5 to 6 minutes of this video, but it's important to know that it is a Jewish family and these Edomites, right, run the world. This is Job 9:24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? Ultimately, these devils gained power, right, back in the 1400s. They went around the world conquering and deceiving the world, all right, to get their power. Revelations 20 and 7 says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Now, Satan is adversary, right? We're going to get, um, um, Second Thessalonians 2, right? Because this devil is against everything that Yahweh Washing Shai is about, right? That's why he's Satan. This is a man of lawlessness, right? This devil is being revealed to be the wicked here in these last days. This is Second Thessalonians 2:1. It says, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Yahweh Shai is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except that come may fall away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Right? So the falling away came to us, right, as Israelites, right, not knowing who we are as a people, right? Our slave masters beating it out of us. We discontinued from our heritage, as the scriptures say. It says Jeremiah 17:4, and thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for we have kindled a fire in mine anger which shall burn forever. So the Lord gave us into the hand of our enemies, which are the wicked, right, which are the Edomites that you see today. They're the so-called white men, right? Esau, Edom, we was given into their hands during slavery, right? And we had to serve them in a land that we know of not, right? In this land here, this is not a land, this is not a home, right? America, we don't belong in America, we belong in Jerusalem, right? In Israel, right? We are the Hebrew Israelites, we belong in Israel, but we were cast out of our land because we didn't listen to our father. And we were given to our enemies, which are the wicked who run the world today, right? The power hasn't shifted. People are talking about now a new world order or a shift and change of power. They're talking about who's next. And that's because the same wicked devil that's been running the world, which is the white man, Esau Edom, has been running it since the time period of 1400s, basically, right? Because before that, you had the Byzantine Empire, right? And we was ruling Rome. The Israelites were ruling Rome, but this is history. These devils basically have the power to do and to cover up. Going back to Job 9, said the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. That's what this devil did. That's what he did when he took power. He covered the faces of the judges. He whitewashed the images. The scriptures say, First Maccabees, I believe it's 3 and 48. Right, First Maccabees 3. This is First Maccabees 3:47. Right? It says, then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes and laid open the book of the law wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. So they took our images, and we as a people are, we're predominantly melanated, right? Melanin, we have melanin, right? The wicked Esau, Edom, the current rule of the world, Esau, going back to his forefather, he was birthed without pigmentation in his skin, right? That's why his name is Esau, right? Because he was wasted away, right? His skin, that is, it's not good. That is that skin, and they let you know that. That's what they need sunscreen. They can get skin cancer for, I don't know, sunbathing too long. Their skin is just, it's not good for Earth. It's not good for planet Earth, right? And that's a curse put on this devil because he's the one that's going to go into perdition. And it's going to happen, right? The scriptures say, then it shall be known that a prophet have been among you. When you get the kingdom, when you burn these devils up eventually, you'll see, all right? But they laid open the book of the law, right? And they wanted to paint their whitewashed images, right? Their lack of pigmentation images on the true judges, right? Which would be us. You know, go back to Revelations 20. So Revelation 27, and when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are on the four corners of the earth. So whether you believe it or not, you have been deceived. Right. That's why Isaiah 32 says what it says. Isaiah 32 and 5 says, the vile person shall no more be called liberal, nor the troll said to be bountiful. You know how many people around the world, wants to be like this devil? You wants to be like America, right? Like it's the best thing in the world. And a lot of that is because of the free slave labor that they had to build themselves up, and they put on a good front about what they're about. And it's really not the case. They don't have it all together. This is second Edges 15, right? In 46, it says, and thou, Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babylon and art the glory of the person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because that thou hast made thyself like unto her. See, for the most part, the world has followed in the footsteps of America in a different ways, because all of these heathen are really just servants, and they need someone to follow, right? They've been following America, and America is wicked as hell, right? That's why everything is out of order from top to bottom. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 tells us that. So the head, so the officers, and on a bigger scale, America is the head of the world. These vassal states and officers, they're following after America and messed up their own land, even down to like the jump shots and things like that, with the population rates, dwelling, or we'll rather say that word, smaller, they don't know what the hell is going on, but that's them trying to follow after America, right? And letting America take charge and let America lead. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, hast decked thy daughters in whoredom. Yeah, these women, right? Scriptures say that she shall be a harlot in the streets. All these women want to do is be free, basically. They want to be free, and they do a lot with that freedom. You know, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, and that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore said Yahweh watching our shy, I will send plagues upon thee, and ultimately there's actually widowhood, probably famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death. Yeah, so these nations around the world are going to get the same thing that America is getting. You know, all these different things. What I was going to say. Yeah, the scriptures say, "Mark them that sign that cry." Right, just like vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. Right, see, this place is wicked as hell. Ezekiel 9:4, and the Lord Yahweh Bashim shall say unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the top of the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst of it. There's actual men, myself included, of the whole elect, but the whole elect, men, women, and children that cry and sigh for the things being committed here. It's hard to just do things the correct way. Where Satan's trying to bring you down, basically, right? And that's the elect, but the rest of these people, they love it, right? And that's why we can say her inventions are hated because going back to the true judges, we are that. The scriptures say when the wicked, the brutal people mourn, when the righteous are unemployed, the people rejoice. No one's happy, right? Everyone's mourning. You got a lot of things happening upwards to the people, and the earth is poisoned in its entirety, every aspect of it. Nothing is clean. All right. Isaiah 32:5, the devout person shall no more be called liberal, nor betrothed to be bountiful. Yeah, they deceived you and made you believe that they were the liberal person, right? And that this was the best place on earth and they're the best people on earth, and all of that. But in these last days, they're being revealed to be that wicked. And people, what's interesting to me, and it's just interesting because they didn't really believe. They didn't believe the prophets of the same. They call them conspiracy theories and things like that. And even now, as the truth come out, they're saying like, yeah, what we thought was conspiracy theories are actually, becoming true. But the men of the Lord, the prophets, have always been telling the truth, right from the beginning, starting with our elder apostles and their elder apostles, and on down, right? And we're still telling you the truth, right? For the vile person will speak villainy, Midas right, fuck your constitution, the international law, the UN, the law of the waters and seas, and fuck you, But the foul person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord Yahweh Bashar, to make empty the souls of the hungry, and who will cause the drink of the thirsty to fill. A lot of y'all, you don't get that famine, all right? And it's going to be the wicked, the one who's running the world to do it to you, because for one, he's been back into a corner because that was being found out, right? And there's a lack of trust. So nothing the government, tries to push out, including that MOTB, is going to be received welcomely, without some type of black swan event. Something's going to happen to make them change the world. That's what happened with 911. When 911 happened, look, the world changed a little bit. Then you had the CBID happen, the world changed a little bit. But it was all leading up to the moment we're at now, where the world is about to change overnight completely. A whole different digital system being tracked and traced. Where you have no control, they have control. The web says you will own nothing and be happy. All right. The instruments also the true are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needed speak of right. So these devils basically they don't care. They don't care what's right. They don't care what you got going on. They gonna give it to you, right? They're gonna give you the MOTB. They're gonna push their system on you, and if you don't get the program, you're gonna die, right? And that's the wicked. That's what Revelation 13 tells us. Revelation 13 and 15 says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Who has power right now? America, right? And not America, but the people that run America. America is their hub, right? They're based out of America and Israel, of course. They use America as their military power to push their agendas out, through force on the world. And also behind the scenes, they have different other infrastructures, and a lot of money where they can pay individuals, and then we're seeing now, it's going to Habakkuk 2, the blackmailing. Y'all grab that. Habakkuk 2 and 16, it says, thou art filled with shameful glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful feeling shall be on thy glory. But matter of fact, 2 and 15, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, right? And basically, what we're seeing with these files is that these devils, invited people to their island. Why'd you go to the island? These devils invited people to their island and allowed them to do things while blackmailing them and getting information on them, leaving them files, them talking about it. Yeah, can get information on these people, this, that, and the third. And that's how these devils work, right? In secrecy, right? Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. So this is what the devils did in the form of blackmailing. Said, thou art filled with shameful glory, drink thou also, so that thy portion can be uncovered. So now it's being found out that these devils, that's exactly what they did. They went around the world blackmailing people, you understand, and know that these are the Amalekites who run the world, the Jewish families, right, over there in Israel, right, because they wish they was us. They're not the actual Israelites, right? They're pretending because that's another lie. Going back to this, when they took control of the world, they knew who we were. They hid and covered the faces of the judges, right, to hide the truth because they want the power, right? And of course, prophecy had to be fulfilled, but ultimately we're going to get our power back, right? We're gonna take control soon. We're waiting on our Lord King Yahweh Shah to return and put everything back into order. But these devils hid the true judges of the earth, right? And they put them place. They set themselves up to be that judge. It says, thou art filled with shameful glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful things shall be on thy road. Right. So, they're being found out. All right. So Revelation 28, it says, and shall go out. Oh, sorry, that said, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, while the may God to gather them together to battle, remember of whom is as the standard of sea. Yeah, so they will gather, to war with Russia. Gog and Magog is Russia, okay, and that's um that's what's about to happen. All right, ultimately they're going to go to war, which will be World War III, right? Revelation 11 and 14 tells us that the third woe will come. All right, the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe will come quickly. Right, so that's what's next on the agenda. Along with Jacob's trouble, which we are currently in, we're currently in World War III. Everyone is saying it. Be like a Cold War, but it's about to get hot. They're about to attack Iran. The wicked is drawing out America to this battle. You can clearly see that happening. Jeremiah 50:45 says that therefore hear you the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai that he have taken against Babylon. Right? Babylon talking about America and his purposes that he had proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Because ultimately, the Israelites were brought where? To America, right, to do slavery. First of all, Babylon has a lot to pay for because there was a lot of horrendous atrocities, committed on the Israelites here, in America and all around the world. And you're seeing a small part of what was happening in the Epstein files because you got things like the delectable Negro, the babies to the alligator, the hangings, the lynchings, the ripping out, babies from the woman's womb and feeding to the alligator, just chopping off, balls and dicks, you know, breast cancer, different experiments of medicines and, different testing of the human body, just on and on and on. And you got, different things that these devils have done that they have to receive double for in the kingdom when we get there to pay for that, right? Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Rashai that he have taken against Babylon and his purposes that he have proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make the habitation desolate with them. So the least of the flock is talking about these Amalekites, right? The least, lowest, these Edomites, these Amalekites over in the land of Israel. right? They run the world, and they're going to bring America over there to war with them, and they're going to make America desolate with them. So Israel and America will be desolate, right? And pursuant to Joel 2 was going to do that with the nuclear missiles. Joel 2 and 3, it said a fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame. It's talking about the missiles. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yeah, nothing shall escape them. So we know that these devils will be they will be destroyed. With these missiles, American Israel for sure. Right, and these missiles, may hit other areas because this will be World War III. There's a lot of nukes that these people have. Malachi 1, it says, "For behold, a day coming that shall burn as an oven." We know the great story about the flood, right? The whole earth was flooded, right? Even the scientists did, research to, figure out certain things or truth. But hey, look, the next one, for behold, the day coming that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem shall host that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Yeah, because it's going to be complete desolate because of the missiles. All right. So over here, Revelations 20 and 9, it says, "And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city. And fire came down from the hovel of Bashmal Shah out of heaven and devoured them." Now, ultimately, in these last days, right, these devils are going to try it again. The scriptures say, "He shall not lead you into captivity, anymore," roughly paraphrasing scriptures. But ultimately, these devils are going to try to, start over. They're going to try to do a reset. They're going to try to bring back America in these last days. But the scriptures say there is no healing of their bruise. The wound is too grievous, to be healed. Jeremiah 51 and 7. "Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken." This is America, right? America has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken because everyone followed after America, right? Everyone made trade with America, right? Everyone believed in America. The nations have drunken up the wine, therefore the nations are mad because now America is trying to reset things, while it's still trying to lead the world, right? They're trying to reset and lead the world. So now the nations around the world are upset because a lot of the different policies and things that they stood on, they're now reneging on it. And they're saying we don't want nothing to do with it, right? The different covenants. Psalm 55 and 20, "He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him, he hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were soft and oily of drawn swords." In a lot of cases, and pretty much for all cases, everything America did was to benefit themselves. These different peace agreements or arms, restrictions and things like that, just for America to keep the upper hand. Jeremiah 51 and 7, "Babylon have been the golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all that drunken. The nations have drunken." Babylon have been the golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, for so be she may be healed. We will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and lifteth up even to the skies. So there's no healing for the devil, right? There's no fixing it. There's no do-overs. Nothing like that. A lot of people on the internet now are talking about, is it time to leave America? But we, the whole select, understand and trust in Yahweh Bashem Rashad, that he's going to deliver us pursuant to Matthew 24:30 with chariots when he returns, right? What you might call UFOs or aliens. That's what we believe and know for surety. Nahum 30:19 says, "There is a healing of thy bruise, thy wound and grievous, all that hear the root of thee shall clap their hands over thee." For upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? See, this devil is the wicked, right? He's the voter of wickedness. Malachi 1 and 1, the burden of the word, the Lord Yahweh Bashmi to Israel by Malachi. I have loved thee, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmi, yet he said, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmi, yet I loved Jacob. And I hated Esau, and I laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of wilderness. Ultimately, we took power. We was over these devils. We had in subjection. I said, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places, which they did. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashar coast, they shall build, but I will build down. So now we're at the part where the Most High Yahweh Bashar is about to put down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness. And the people against whom the Lord Yahweh Bashar have indignation forever, right? Righteous anger, you know. Says denounce, express indignation, class indignation, be angrily, okay. Says to foam at the mouth, enraged, to be enraged, abhor, abominable, right? The Lord is angry with these devils forever. Nahum 3:19, there's no healing of that bruise, that wound and grievous, all that hear the bruise, they shall clap their hand over thee, for upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually. Obadiah 1 and 1 says the vision of Obadiah, thus said the Lord Yahweh Bashar concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh Bashar, an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise, ye, let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen that are greatly despised. So they're the lowest, right? Greatly despised, small, the least of all the people of planet Earth is these levels, the basis of men. Said the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the crest of rock. Yeah, because the Most High Yahweh Bashar allowed these devils to accomplish so much. Right, that's why the scriptures say they didn't think about the latter end of it. They thought the Most High was with them, because the Most High made them a golden cup in his hand to do his will, right? And ultimately to bring them up just to throw them, smash them down, just like he did Pharaoh. And because of that, they really think is themselves, so their pride in the wrong way, or their pride in themselves. They're confident in themselves and not Yahweh Bashar Rashad. This is Isaiah 10:5. It says, "O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation." King David said, deliver me from the wicked, which is thy sword. This devil is just a sword on planet Earth, right? To dish out damage to these other nations too, because these other nations had a part, in our captivity at one point in time, right? But their final judgment comes in the kingdom, of course, along with Esau, Edom, and the everlasting divine kingdom that's soon about to come. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. I will send him against an hypocritical nation. Many of the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil, or to take the prey, and to tread them down like the mire in his boots. Howbeit he meaneth not so, neither doth his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nation out of you. So all the devil think is blood, madness. When he opened his eyes, he see red. He's on go. And the Most High just pointed that sword in the right direction to accomplish different things, to build them up. It says, for he said, are not my princes altogether kings? It's not called no as Karshemish. It's not Hamath as Arpad. It's not Samaria as Tanakis. So this devil was looking at every nation on earth and saying they all the same. I beat these people, it's the same. This man, he's the same way. You look at him right now with Venezuela. That's why the Most High Yahweh Bashar they was snaring the trap for the devil. This man looking at Venezuela and the fact that he already bombed Iran and saying, look, man, I just bombed your ass. I done took Venezuela. Make a deal, or I'm gonna come back again. But we know the scriptures say that the Most High is going to remove far from you the northern army and send him to a land barren and desolate. That's what's taking place now. Right? We know the scriptures say that the least of the flock shall draw them out and make their habitation desolate with them. So that's happening right now. Right? And this could be the attack. Because mind you, they did already attack Iran and nothing happened. Right? So now they're going to attack Iran again. But that's when we get Habakkuk 2, where it says, how long? You know, at one point, and it's looking like the time now, these devils going to be like, hold up, you know. So got Joel 3, where it goes the weak saying they are strong, and they're preparing heavy right now. Russia, China helping them, Russia helping them, the different, Arab nations around Iran helping them, Turkey, Africa. Habakkuk 2:5. Yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he was a proud man, now he keepeth at home. For enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. But gathereth unto him all nations, and keepeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that maketh himself a prey. So this devil is going around, he don't keep at home, he's transgressing by his policies, he's proud as hell, right? He enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, destroying everybody, and can't be satisfied. He ain't stopping. That's what we get in Isaiah 10. This man just going and going and going, right? He's destroying nations, not a people. But the people are going to say, how long, bro? And at one point, they just going Joel 3 his ass. Joel 3. In 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, right? Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares, right? Which is your, like, you know, farming tools and things like that into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears of the weak say, I am strong. So at one point, the Most High Yahweh Bashem Shai is going to cause the nations to rise up. And that's what he's doing right now. You know, we see that. And ultimately, they're going to attack America. Okay. So Isaiah 10:9, it's not Calno as Carchemish, it's not Hamath as Arpad, it's not Samaria as Damascus, as my hand hath found the kingdoms of the idols, in whose graven images did excel them of Jerusalem and of Samaria, shall I not, as I have done unto Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols? But going over here, it says, howbeit he meaneth not so, neither do his heart think so, but it is in his mind to destroy and cut off nations, not a few. All the devil see is red. Right? Wherefore it shall come to pass, Isaiah 10:12, wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord Yahweh Yahweh hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart for king of Syria in the glory of his high looks. So he has limitations for 20. And 1, it says, rejoice and be glad, O Lord of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O Lord of Zion. He will no more carry the way to captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O Lord of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So is this devil's end and our beginning, right? Esau the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. Wherefore, Isaiah 10:12, wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord Yahweh Bashem shall have performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria in the glory of his high look. For he said, by the strength of my hand have I done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent. And I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down inhabitants like a valiant man. And my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathered eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peep. See, so because the Most High set this devil up to accomplish this thing, you know, he believes that it was him who did it. That's why he's so proud, right? This devil really, hasn't experienced nothing. That's why Isaiah 47 says what it says. Isaiah 47:1, it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. This is a virgin never been touched. come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take millstone and grind mill, and cover thy locks, make bare the leg, and cover the thigh, as over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yet thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Right? So the Most High Yahweh Bashem Shah is coming to do damage to this virgin whore, right? Who's never been touched, but she about to get touched a lot, right? This Isaiah 10 and 14 again, it says, my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or peeped the mouth or peeped. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth their whip? Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that saweth it? As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself as it were no whip. And the point is, the devil is a tool that the Lord has used, and He's done it with the tool. Right? And that's all the devil is crumbling. I seen it's just a lot of things happen to the devil. I think a sailor felt the ship, right, in the ocean. There's so much stuff happening. They arguing back and forth. They're completely divided. Yeah, so the Most High Yahweh Bashman is about to destroy you. All right. Obadiah 1 and 3. The part of thine heart to see thee, thou that goest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down from the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, then shall I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashman Shah. All right. Jeremiah 50:22. A sound of battles in your land and of great destruction. How the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken, how has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh Bashar Rashad. Right, it goes back into Second Thessalonians too. Right, that we about to get where there was against his adversary to Yahweh Bashar Rashad, telling people that he is God. Right, the Lord Yahweh Bashar Rashad opened his armor now brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashar Rashad host in the land of the Chaldeans. All right, and ultimately we see the snare, that's laid for this devil. Everyone around the whole world is telling this devil not to go to Iran. Don't go to war with Iran. What is he doing? Mustering his troops, find his Globetrotters over there, right? That is all of the news. Another carrier strike group over there, Globetrotters over there, troops over there. It's over. That's the snare. They say this war is going to amount to a greater regional war. And ultimately, it's going to probably kick things off where everybody involved World War III, Second Thessalonians 2:1. Again, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, like that the day of Yahushua at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except that come upon away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So the man of sin is going to be revealed, who's going to perdition, which is destruction. It says, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, shows himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what was told it, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. So that we've been working, right? During the Roman Empire time, who are Edomites, right? Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed. whom the Lord Yahweh Bashan shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Now, the spirit of his mouth is the prophets. And guess where this truth is coming out of predominantly? Here in America, right? From the middle of GMS and of course the other post elect members that may be scattered around, right? Be sprinkled around the camps and doing their own thing, right? Proclaiming the 100% truth. That's the spirit of his mouth, right? And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Yeah, what shall saying the missiles are coming to Babylon and coming to America, right? And Israel. And Yahweh Shah is coming here to, up around the world to pick up his elect. Second Thessalonians 2:8, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh Bashan shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is at the working of Satan, God power and signs and lying wonders. Why is these devils posing pictures with, demonic images, with known warlocks and sorcerers, right? Because they worship Satan. And they're coming after the working of Satan. And that's what that a lot of these Rothschild took pictures, these different, demonic looking individuals and things like that. But they're the wicked. It says with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish because they receive not the love of the truth that they might be saved. So the only people that these devils are gonna get is those that are not written in the book of life, right? They're the 2/3 and the rest of the world the heathen may be, not the Lord elect. But anyway, back to the title of the video, it's important because they are a Jewish family. So this is the video I was watching right here.
By saying, first, it turns out to be 100
friends. Yeah, right at that point, I stopped right there and I was like, I'm gonna do a video on there. But you can check it out. But it's the Epstein style, a lot of files, but different people are finding different things. A lot of information they're coming out with is the Rothschilds and they run the world, and we love it. The wicked is being revealed. Usually they have something right here saying the whole message. The fact checkers is back. I don't know if y'all noticed that. Man, start talking about the Rothschilds. They got a whole thing right here about why we need to know about the Rothschild. Anyway, check the video out and make sure this is.
There's some more crazy revelations coming out of the Epstein files. He actually confirms who he worked for. And no, it's not Mossad. Actually, I don't think he worked for Mossad. I think Mossad worked for him. That's how batshit crazy this guy was. So let me go and show you an email. Now, this is an email chain between Epstein and Peter Thiel. As you guys know, Peter Thiel is the venture capitalist that looks like someone out of a Terminator movie. Why this guy has been put on a pedestal, I don't know. But at the bottom, Peter says, will be hard as I'm scrambling on getting ready for China. Anyone else in New Mexico? That's what the NM stands for. Now, Jeffrey replies saying, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. I was hoping to figure out a way for the bank that has 160 billion in management can do something in tech. Best client list in the world. Prehistoric products. It can wait. Good luck in China. I'll be in Europe again, then Ireland. So if you want to come around the world going west, come to the island, or if you'd like to meet me in Saudi at the end of the month. He works for the Rothschilds? Do you guys know who the Rothschilds are? But let me finish this email chain first. Theo replies, certainly not in Saudi. Just think I will avoid the Middle East for the next decade or so. Should be back in East Coast in late April or May, sometime in New York or on the island. To which Jeffrey says, no rush. Did you get any feedback on the Valor Guy's view of Ehud Barak's company? Not my sweet spot, as you know. Now, I've got more emails coming, but let's break this down. For those of you that are millennials, you'll know that when we first got the internet, late 90s, early 2000s, the earliest conspiracy theories spoke about the Rothschilds, a banking family coming out of Europe.
Hey, I know when there you go, fucking devil right here. I know when this is Jacob Rothschild, no longer with us. Yeah, I remember when the YouTube popped in there, and I hear the story all the time about the elder apostles, went into like, the different, Illuminati and all of that, type of stuff. Real interesting stuff, which is truthful stuff about, just the unknown basically. That's I guess what's interesting. Kind of like knowing what's under the ocean. You know, like damn, what's down there? It's kind of like the Illuminati. Like damn, what they hiding? Why'd you go to the island?
Who funded a lot of the wars. In today's world, you don't hear that name often, and it is said on paper they don't really own as many banks as they did in the past. But why is he saying he represents the Rothschilds? The most famous prominent Rothschild today is Ariana de Rothschild, and there's emails between her and Epstein to come that are going to blow your mind. But in all the conspiracy theories that you've heard about Illuminati and Freemasons or whoever own the world, the name attributed to this are the Rothschilds, this elite banking family that control the entire money supply. In fact, Henry Kissinger, I'm going to read this quote out to you. He says, "Who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy can control whole continents. And who controls money can control the whole world." And if ever there was a shadowy government controlling everything and people said it was the Rothschild, I'd probably believe it. But again, these were the earliest conspiracy theories back in the day. But let's move on now. In the emails, there's a letter, right? And Jeffrey Epstein himself has named himself the president of the Southern Trust Company. Now, this is a letter of agreement on behalf of the Southern Trust Company. This is a Virgin Islands corporation, and it confirms that he's been collaborating with Ariane de Rothschild on behalf of Edmund de Rothschild Holdings. Edmund is one of the senior members of the family back in the day. But if you look at this figure here, $25 million. So what this agreement was is that Ariana is going to hire Epstein as a consultant. In other words, what Epstein was, he was an access agent. He was given a whole bunch of money by Les Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret, and he was able to make contacts and get information on prominent people so then he can sell to other agencies. Yes, some of it is blackmail, but it's also to gain political favors. It seems Ariane Rothschild was behind a lot of it too. Who to target, who to leave alone, who to influence to shape the current world we live in. And the one thing you'll notice about Epstein is that every single person who is named in these files or came in contact with them, none of them have ever criticized Israel. Coincidence? So now I have a communication chain directly between Epstein and Ariane de Rothschild. So in December 2018, Epstein says, "I thought you found it amusing that in a Harvard class on Hitler, they told the story that he was so poor he lived in a shelter for the homeless, that he had been financed by 3 wealthy families, the Gutmans, the Epsteins, and the Rothschilds. It turns out to be accurate. The reason why that's important is because they're Jewish families." To which Ariane replies, "Whether it's a way to say that generosity is not rewarded or that the conspiracy theory still exists is quite pathetic." So she rejects this notion, but not quite. Epstein responds by saying, "First, it turns out to be 100% true. Hitler was selling his clothes and artwork and living in a shelter funded by Jews. Epstein, Rothschilds, and Gutmans, these are names of families back then. No conspiracy. The Epsteins were the Vienna bankers, bought their bank on the ring, hence still Palais Epstein. Where are you? I'm in bed with your cold." So wait, Hitler was funded by Jews? Huh? What does that mean? Now she replies and she goes, "I know it is true, but regularly used to say that Rothschilds planned and supported Hitler in mass destruction gain of power."
What I just thought about is nothing that you mentioned about Israelites yet. It's just interesting. You notice they said there were no so-called black women invited to the island, which I don't believe. But
What she's trying to say is they may have financed him in the beginning, but the moment Hitler turned and went crazy, that's when they didn't finance him and they stopped. She then says, "I'm in the Maldives, also with a cold since yesterday. I've been diving a lot, back in Europe on the 3rd. And then there's more communication. December 31st, 2018, New Year's Eve, she sends him a message saying, "Did you get my video with the girls?" I've no idea what that means, but given the context of Epstein, it just sounds fucked up. I've got more communications coming where we can connect a few dots, but why are 2 Jews, Epstein and this Ariane Rothschild lady, like they literally just confirmed in this email casually that, wait a minute, it was Jews that funded Hitler all along. Now again, I don't really believe conspiracy theories. And of course, the Holocaust was a tragedy. One of the
All right, it's about 2 more minutes. You can go check the video out, finish it up. All right, there's the name and everything. Shalom to the Ophir elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.